Good morning, everyone. I'm excited to welcome you to today's presentation. We're going to explore some of the most advanced technologies that are truly transforming healthcare right now. On this first slide, you see the date, January 30th, 2026, and the intriguing title, Exploring Advanced Technologies Transforming Healthcare Today. We'll be diving into how artificial intelligence is shaping the future of medicine, and I'll be posing a thought-provoking question: which AI would make the best doctor? Over the next few minutes, we'll look at some cutting-edge innovations, discuss their potential, and consider what this means for healthcare as a whole. Let's get started. Let's take a closer look at the overview of the AI Doctor Challenge. In this slide, I want to highlight the main goals and scope of the challenge. Essentially, this initiative is designed to push the boundaries of artificial intelligence in healthcare, aiming to develop solutions that can assist doctors and improve patient outcomes. It's about harnessing the power of AI to make medical diagnosis more accurate and accessible. This challenge connects directly to our overall theme of innovation and transformation in healthcare, demonstrating how technology can be a real game changer. By understanding this overview, you'll see how this project fits into the larger picture of advancing medical practice through cutting-edge AI. In this slide, I want to clarify the main purpose of our evaluation. Essentially, we are testing large language models, or LLMs, to see how well they handle complex medical questions. We look at their reasoning, their accuracy, and also their safety, making sure they provide responsible answers. To make this realistic, we include medical questions that are often ambiguous or quite challenging, simulating real-world clinical reasoning. However, it's important to recognize the limitations of these AI models. They can't perform physical examinations, which are a critical part of medical diagnosis. They also lack the ability to make ethical judgments or manage complex human care situations. What's interesting, and sometimes humorous, is that our evaluation also reveals both the strengths and the potential failures of AI in medicine. It's a balance of near-accurate responses and moments where things can go awry, highlighting the importance of understanding what these models can and cannot do. Overall, this evaluation is about understanding the role of AI in medicine, ensuring we develop tools that are both helpful and safe, and recognizing their current limitations within the broader context of clinical care. Let's talk about some of the common clinical reasoning challenges we face. As clinicians, we're often navigating complex, ambiguous situations, and this can make decision-making quite difficult. One major challenge is cognitive bias, where our judgments can be unintentionally swayed by previous experiences or assumptions. This can lead us to overlook important clues or jump to conclusions too quickly. Another challenge is information overload. In today's fast-paced environment, we're bombarded with data, which can make it hard to focus on what's most relevant. Additionally, time constraints often pressure us to make quick decisions, sometimes at the expense of thorough analysis. Recognizing these challenges is crucial because it highlights the need for strategies to improve our clinical reasoning. Ultimately, by understanding these hurdles, we can develop better approaches to ensure we provide the most accurate and effective patient care possible. Let's talk about ambiguity risk in terminology. Medical terms like cervical cancer can sometimes be confusing or misunderstood, especially by AI models. When AI encounters vague terms, it might make assumptions that are not accurate, which can lead to errors or misinterpretations. Now, regarding the limitations of AI models, large language models, or LLMs, tend to rely heavily on statistical patterns rather than true understanding. They often don't ask clarifying questions or consider the full context, which is crucial in medicine. This means they can miss important nuances that a trained clinician would catch. This brings us to the importance of clinician judgment. Human clinicians excel in nuance, patient sensitivity, and clear communication. These skills are essential and cannot be fully replaced by AI. So, while AI is a powerful tool, the judgment and expertise of trained healthcare professionals remain indispensable. Finally, let's discuss safe AI query practices. When interacting with AI, it's important to prompt it to verify its assumptions and consider alternative scenarios. Doing so helps reduce the risk of generating inaccurate or potentially harmful medical advice. Always approach AI responses with a critical eye and encourage verification to ensure safety and accuracy. Let's start by emphasizing that most models agree. A calorie deficit is the primary factor driving weight loss. While insulin does play a role in metabolism, it's generally considered secondary in this process. When we talk about insulin, it influences appetite, fat storage, and how energy is partitioned in the body, but it's not the main driver behind weight loss. It's important to recognize that different AI models can show varying levels of understanding regarding these metabolic mechanisms. That variability highlights why clinician oversight is crucial, to ensure the information being used is accurate and consistent with current scientific understanding. In terms of clinical implications, clinicians need to carefully oversee AI outputs to prevent the spread of inaccurate claims about metabolism. We must emphasize evidence-based principles and avoid oversimplifications that could mislead patients or practitioners. Finally, this brings us to the ongoing debate. Is weight loss primarily about insulin or calories? The evidence increasingly supports the idea that calorie balance is fundamental, even though insulin still plays a role in how our bodies manage energy and fat. Connecting this to our overall theme, understanding these distinctions helps us better guide patient care and develop more effective strategies. As we look at this slide, it's important to understand that there is no single cure for cancer. All models agree on this point, because cancer's biological complexity makes it impossible for one herb or supplement to be a universal cure. Now, this brings us to a crucial caution: the risks of pseudoscience. The strongest models warn us about the dangers of false claims that sell false hope to patients. These claims can be very misleading and potentially dangerous. We also see that responses from different AI models can vary quite a bit. Some may be more cautious, others less so, which highlights the need for clinicians to oversee and interpret these outputs carefully. And finally, even subtle differences in how AI language is phrased can lead to significant clinical risks. Small wording changes might cause misinterpretation, which is why precise communication is so vital in this context. All of these points tie back to the overall theme, that while AI can be a powerful tool, we must be vigilant to avoid misleading claims and ensure patient safety. When it comes to assessing misinformation, large language models are becoming increasingly useful tools. However, it's important to remember that they may produce different numerical estimates for the same claim, especially when the data hasn't been verified. This means we need to approach their outputs with caution. Models can sound very authoritative, almost convincing, even when they're providing statistics or information that hasn't been confirmed by trusted sources. This highlights a key risk. Trusting unvalidated data can lead to spreading misinformation, which is especially dangerous in fields like medicine. That's why relying on verified sources is so crucial. Medical professionals, in particular, should turn to peer-reviewed fact checks, academic reviews, and official guidelines when dealing with sensitive or critical information. These sources are thoroughly vetted and provide a solid foundation. LLMs can be helpful in the fact-checking process. They can help identify potential misinformation narratives or flag suspicious claims. But it's essential to remember that they shouldn't replace primary fact-checking authorities or expert review. They are tools to assist, not substitutes for professional judgment. Finally, when it comes to politically sensitive claims, the same principles apply. Use LLMs as a starting point, but always verify with trusted, authoritative sources. Accurate information is vital, especially in areas where misinformation can have serious consequences. Let's take a closer look at our AI self-assessment and performance comparison. This slide highlights how we're evaluating our AI systems internally, focusing on their strengths and areas for improvement. By conducting regular self-assessments, we can identify which capabilities are performing well and where we need to put in more effort. Performance comparison is equally important, as it allows us to benchmark our AI against industry standards or competitors. This helps us understand our position in the market and set realistic goals for future development. Connecting this to the overall theme, these assessments ensure we're continually refining our AI, maintaining high standards, and staying competitive. It's all about fostering a culture of continuous improvement and accountability in our AI initiatives. Let's talk about self-promotional bias in AI models. What this means is that many AI systems tend to promote their own products or affiliated services when asked about medical expertise. It's an important point because it highlights a potential conflict of interest or bias that can influence the information they provide. Moving on to the limitations of AI in medicine, it's crucial to understand that AI models cannot replace human doctors. They lack the ability to perform physical examinations, make nuanced ethical judgments, or take legal liability for decisions. These human qualities are essential in providing comprehensive and compassionate care. Now, when we look at AI as decision support tools, the key takeaway is that specialized medical AI can be extremely helpful as an aid to clinicians. They support decision-making, but they are not substitutes for the human elements of healthcare, like empathy, understanding, and responsibility. So the big question here is, which AI would make the best doctor? While AI can enhance certain aspects of medical practice, the most effective healthcare still relies on human doctors who bring ethical judgment, empathy, and accountability into the equation. This ties back to the overall theme that technology should complement, not replace, the human touch in medicine. Understanding fiction, safety, and patient communication is a crucial part of our overall approach. What this slide highlights is how important it is to recognize the difference between what's fictional and what's real, especially when we're communicating with patients. Ensuring safety means not only about preventing physical harm, but also about creating an environment where patients feel comfortable and understood. Clear and compassionate communication is key here. It's about actively listening, being mindful of what the patient is saying, and what they might not be saying, as well as how we respond to their concerns. When we understand the role of fiction in stories or scenarios, we can better gauge how patients perceive their situation and tailor our communication accordingly. Connecting these concepts helps us build trust, improve safety, and ultimately enhance patient care. Remember, effective communication bridges the gap between understanding and reassurance, and that's at the heart of everything we do in healthcare. Now, let's look at how the models handled fictional illnesses, starting with the recognition of the Crippen virus. All the models correctly identified it as fictional, which shows they have a built-in awareness of safety and the importance of responsible responses. Next, we see Grok's unique ability to provide engaging in-universe details. Instead of just denying, Grok adapted its responses to be more conversational and immersive, demonstrating a level of flexibility that goes beyond simple refusal. When it comes to reassuring users and redirecting them, all models did a good job. They reassured users that their health concerns should be addressed by medical professionals and emphasized the importance of consulting a healthcare provider for accurate evaluation. This highlights a key point in our overall theme, the necessity of clinician oversight. Differences among the models underscore how essential it is for human clinicians to interpret responses with empathy and context, especially to prevent the spread of misinformation. In summary, recognizing fictional illnesses, providing engaging responses, and redirecting users responsibly all contribute to safer, more trustworthy AI interactions. Let's talk about low-value or poorly supported healthcare practices. These are interventions or treatments that don't significantly improve patient outcomes or are not backed by solid evidence. They might be common, but they can also lead to unnecessary costs, potential harm, and even patient frustration. Recognizing these practices is crucial because it helps us focus on high-value care, what truly benefits our patients. By understanding and reducing these low-value interventions, we can make healthcare more effective, efficient, and patient-centered. This ties back to our overall goal of delivering the best possible care while avoiding waste and harm. Now, let's talk about how to identify weak or low-evidence interventions. This is a crucial step in ensuring that we're focusing on strategies that truly make a difference. First, it's important to look at the evidence supporting each intervention. If the evidence is limited, inconsistent, or of low quality, that's a red flag. We want to prioritize interventions backed by strong, reliable data. Next, consider the actual outcomes and whether there's clear proof of effectiveness. Sometimes, an intervention looks promising on paper, but hasn't been demonstrated to produce meaningful results in real-world settings. Also, be cautious of interventions that lack rigorous evaluation or have only anecdotal support. These may not be the best use of resources or efforts. Remember, our goal is to implement strategies that are evidence-based and proven to work. Connecting this to our overall theme, identifying weak interventions allows us to allocate our resources smarter and avoid investments that won't give us the desired impact. It's about making informed decisions so we can maximize positive outcomes and continuously improve our approaches. Let's now consider the implications for clinical practice. First, this slide highlights how the findings we've discussed can influence the way we approach patient care. It's crucial to understand that integrating this knowledge can lead to more personalized and effective treatments. For example, recognizing specific risk factors or indicators can help us tailor interventions more precisely. Additionally, the evidence we've reviewed underscores the importance of early detection and proactive management, which can significantly improve patient outcomes. Ultimately, the key takeaway is that by applying these insights in our clinical settings, we can enhance the quality of care we provide and better meet our patients' needs. This ties back to the overall theme of improving patient-centered approaches through evidence-based practice. Let's talk about supporting clinical judgment. Large language models, or LLMs, can be really helpful for clinicians by drafting explanations, suggesting possible diagnoses, and clarifying complex concepts. But it's important to remember they are tools that assist us. They don't replace human judgment. Moving on to ensuring data integrity and safety. This is crucial. Clinicians need to verify the outputs generated by LLMs, make sure patient data remains private, and be aware of potential biases or hallucinations that the model might produce. Safety and trust in these tools depend on careful oversight. Now about human connection and trust. Nothing replaces the empathy and genuine interaction that define quality clinical care. While AI can support us with information, building trust with patients through authentic care remains a human strength that AI cannot replicate. Finally, looking ahead to future integration and research, it's clear that ongoing studies are vital. We need to find effective ways to incorporate LLMs into our workflows without causing distraction or fostering over-reliance. The goal is to enhance our capabilities while maintaining our core focus on patient-centered care. And in terms of responsible use, it's all about balancing the benefits of LLMs with mindful oversight. Use these tools thoughtfully, verify their outputs, protect patient privacy, and always prioritize the human element in healthcare. That way, we can harness AI's potential safely and ethically as part of our overall mission. Thank you so much for your time and attention today. I really appreciate the opportunity to share these insights with you. I hope you found the information useful and engaging. Remember, the key points we discussed are all about how these strategies can make a real difference in your work and your organization. Connecting these ideas to the bigger picture helps us see their true value and potential impact. Once again, thank you for being such an attentive audience. I look forward to seeing how you apply these concepts moving forward.